AITAH for telling my husband his friend can come to Thanksgiving, but the second he starts commenting on my dishes or my cooking, he can walk right back out the door. Posted by u/AgentSparkles88. So my husband has this friend, let's call him Craig. The first time we invited Craig over for a holiday was Thanksgiving a few years ago. He said he wanted to wash his hands before dinner, but didn't use the bathroom. Instead, he went to the kitchen and proceeded to complain about how the sink was full of dishes and why hadn't I cleaned them yet, despite the fact I had made an entire Thanksgiving meal. My husband said he was probably joking, and I shouldn't have taken it so personally. For Easter, my husband invited him again, and Craig offered to bring a pie. I told him that I was already planning on making 2 desserts, carrot cake and cheesecake stuffed strawberries, and since my husband and I were trying to lose weight, I really didn't want an extra dessert floating around. So he offered to bring rolls instead. I joked that if he didn't bring King Hawaiian sweet rolls, he wouldn't be allowed inside. So on Easter I told him dinner would be served at 5 o'clock came and no Craig. 5:30 is still not Craig, but we decide to eat. 6 no Craig, and we move on to dessert. 6:30 we finished eating and decided to relax in the living room. 7 Craig finally shows up with his girlfriend, and I see he brought King Hawaiian butter rolls. At this point, I didn't really care since I already ate dinner without a roll, but what really got me was he brought the pie. So Craig goes to wash his hands and can't help but make a comment about the dishes in my sink. He then complains that my food is nowhere as good as his girlfriend's, probably had something to do with the fact that the food was now cold. When he was ready to leave, I told him not to forget his pie. He mentioned that he didn't like sweets and we could keep it. Now Thanksgiving is coming again, and my husband wants to invite him. I said, fine, but I'm not dealing with his bullshit this time. The first condescending comment he makes is that he can walk straight out, and if I have to slam the pie in his face to get him to take it, then I will. My husband is telling me that I'm taking everything out of context, but I think showing up 2 hours late and being rude to the host is pretty clear. Am I the asshole? Relevant comments. Commenter 1. You're weirdly sensitive about the pie but justified in being upset about his comments about your dishes and about your food, and the fact that he was so late. Op response. If it hadn't been for the other stuff, I probably wouldn't have minded as much. Especially since he bought it as a restaurant that has the most artificial tasting chocolate pies I've ever had. Op clarifies on if Craig's girlfriend was invited to Thanksgiving the first time. Has Craig with his girlfriend for a while at the time? Op, Craig asked if he could bring her, and we said yes. She was perfectly kind to us. They're actually engaged now. And my husband hasn't known him that long. They used to work together, and I know my husband and his work friends are rude and inappropriate with each other, and I told him that if he wants to act like that with his friends, I don't care, but I don't like people treating me like that. Commenter 2, why does your husband keep inviting him? And if they're tight enough to spend all the holidays together, why hasn't he addressed this behavior? Not the AITAH. Your husband borders on it though. Op response. To be fair, those are only 2 holidays in the past 4 years. He usually visits his family, but those 2 he happened to be in town. Commenter 3, not the AITAH. You have a husband problem. Craig is obviously an asshole, but why is your husband okay with his friend being so rude and nasty to his wife? Does your husband also treat you like this? Or talk bad about you to Craig so that he feels comfortable enough to act this way? The first time a guest was ever rude to me in my own home would be the last time they were inside it. Tell your hubby he can go spend Thanksgiving with Craig and his GF while you stay home alone. There will be no less and no asshole making rude comments. Op response. I've seen my husband around his friends, and they go all out with the mean comments towards each other, so I get that it's their friend dynamic. My husband says that Craig sees me as a friend, and that's why he's comfortable being rude to me, but he isn't actually trying to be a jerk. I told him I'm not mean to my friends, and he said he'll tell Craig to be nicer, but that he just forgets I'm not like his other friends. Update, 10 days later. So since Thanksgiving was yesterday, I decided to update, but first I wanted to address a few things. 1. Craig did ask if he could bring his girlfriend, and we said yes because she's a very sweet person. I just forget to mention that. 2. Why did I or my husband not call Craig out? I am very non-confrontational, and my husband and his friends roast each other, that's just their dynamic. My friends and I borderline flirt with each other, so it's the exact opposite. So when Craig insulted me, it's because he likes me and sees me as a friend. 3. A lot of people seem to think my husband is terrible, and that's easy to say when this is the only thing you know about him. But let me assure you I could not have asked for a better husband. He supported me for years while I was unemployed, and didn't complain. He's taken care of me while I was sick or recovering from surgery. He defended me when his mother called me lazy, He likes to surprise me with little present or treats for no reason. He's more excited about my little victories than I am, and is always quick to remind how amazing he thinks I am whenever I try to say something negative about myself. He's silly, and he makes me laugh. He's so amazing that I'm willing to put up with his lukewarm friends. 4. Several people have mentioned that I should go out to eat, and as a person who used to serve on Thanksgiving, that sounds horrible. Now the update. As it turns out, my husband didn't invite Craig. After my initial response, he decided not to stress me out any more than I already was. He did invite some guys from work who had nowhere else to go, and I invited my uncle and cousin. Everyone was an hour late, but since the food was still hot and I was vibing to my music, I didn't mind much. The food was mostly good, and no one insulted me, even though the turkey was a little dry. Don't worry, I know what I did wrong, and I had a good time gossiping with my cousin while the guys watched football. Relevant comments. Op on what she did wrong with the turkey being dry. Op response. Well, typically, I use a Reynolds bag to cook it in. I know it sounds crazy to cook a turkey in a plastic bag, but trust me, it works. It keeps the turkey moist, so you don't have to keep basting. I use the bag, but I heard you should cut ventilation holes so the bag won't pop. I think I cut too many holes, or my holes were too big, which allowed too much moisture to escape. So next time I'll just stick with 2 small ventilation holes. Commenter 1, great outcome, I'm not sticking around for the brine police. Commenter 2, it's still rude to show up an hour late, but I'm glad you had a great time.